Welcome everyone to the Reading Ryan Corner. This is a book review by Leanne, your host. This book review is Kiss of Prism by Laura Adrian. Okay, by Laura Adrian. This story is a part of a series called Midnight Breed. I am going to assume you have read the first book, Kiss of Midnight. If not, pause this video and go read it, and then return to watch this video, because seriously, you need to. Well, watch the first video, then read this. Then read this book, then watch this video. Okay. And if it is something that you're not interested in reading, continue watching. You might just be enjoying my blathering on or whatnot. Don't know, don't care. You're here. Thank you for coming to the non-spoiler review of Kiss of Prism. Now, about the series. Part human, part otherworldly. The breed has lived among humankind for thousands of years, maintaining a tent of peace built on secrecy, power, and the dark justice carried out by the formidable warriors of the Order. But now, a blood war within the race is set to ignite. Vampires are going rogue in startling numbers, feeding without discretion, killing humans in the streets. It is up to the Order to stop the spreading threat of rogue domination, and in doing so, each of the warriors will be forced to confront private demons, darkest secrets, deepest fears. Some will know triumph, some will know loss, but each warrior can count on one thing: love. When it finds him, will often come at the worst possible moment, with the least likely woman, and it'll bring each of these powerful males to his knees. Okay, so what made me read this book, honestly? Because it was the second part of the book. It's the second book, I mean seriously, and it's a sequel to Kiss of Midnight. I needed to know what happened with this war, especially American Rio, or Rio, after being with someone for hundreds of years, only to be betrayed. Here is the blurb for the actual book itself. He comes to her, more dead than alive, a towering black-clad stranger riddled with bullets and rapidly losing blood. As she struggles to save him, veterinarian Tess Culver is unaware that the man calling himself Dante is no man, but one of the breed. Vampire warriors engaged in a desperate battle. In a single, erotically charged moment, Tess is plunged into his world, a shifting, shadowed place where bands of rogue vampires stalk the night, cutting a swath of terror. Haunted by visions of a dark future, Dante lives and fights like there is no tomorrow. Tess is a complication he does not need, but now, with his brethren under attack, he must shield Tess from a growing threat that includes Dante himself, or with one reckless, irresistible kiss, she's become an inextricable part of his underworld realm, and his touch awakens her to hidden gifts, desires, and hunger she never knew she possessed. Bonded by blood, Dante and Tess must work together to thwart deadly enemies, even as they discover a passion that transcends the boundaries of life itself. Okay, so Dante believes he is cursed with the power given to him by his mother. It's premonitions of future deaths. He knows his future is grim, but he continues to further the goal of his brethren, the Order. He risks his life in the belief that he cannot change his future destiny when he meets Tess, a strong-willed woman running from her past, a past that she resolutely tries to ignore. Their encounter drags her into his world of danger. However, her friend Ben would have eventually dragged her into that world by accident. I'm not going to say why here, as it would be a spoiler, but it is important. Here you are given more insight into who Dante is, and he takes larger risks than you think he should with his life. It brings him into a perspective on his reason for not wanting to entangle Tess into his very life. They do blood bond by accident, and Dante tries to undo it to keep Tess safe from him. Did this live up to my expectations? Yes, it did. She has once again crafted characters with scarred backgrounds that give credence to their personality. Which character did I relate to the most? Yes. As a hard worker that likes to help out others, she reminds me of myself, sort of. What was more important, the characters or the plot? Once again, the plot is technically continued from the first book, even though this one has its own separate plot, with the Kiss of Prism being about the Prism part. I'm not going to tell you what it is because that would be a spoiler. So if you want to know, it's in the spoiler part of the review. This book does build upon the first, giving more details about the world and how it works. So it expands the breed world, the order, the enforcement agency. It expands all of it, including Merrick, and more of the background on the ancient ones and how they came to be and why they're there. Though it doesn't still tell you why they crash land on that planet still, but still, it's there. This story was told in multiple voices in the third point of view. It did not affect my reading, but it could affect those who don't like it because it does change chapter to chapter and during a chapter. I'm going to end this non-spoiler part of the review with a lovely little thing called Should You Go and Read the Story/Series? Yes, if you love the paranormal, vampires, and romance, and you have read the first book, you'll want to read this one. It does get hot steamy between the main characters, which is Tess and Dante this time, though Luke and Gabrielle are in it as side characters instead of main. So if you want to know more about Luke and Gabrielle, it's there. Same with Gideon and Savannah. If you have read A Touch of Midnight, the novella, you get that from the Tess and Dante's point of views and several others as well. You won't miss out on much. So, if you do not want to be spoiled, I suggest you just go on about your business somewhere else. And if you think I deserve a like, comment, and subscription before you skedaddle so you don't get spoiled before you actually go read the book, if you haven't already. Thank you for watching. Now, on to the spoiler review. Let's go! There are a few new lingos that you need to know and characters. Well, I say few. There's only really one. Crimson. Crimson is a drug that makes breed go rogue after consuming a good quantity of it, and it's addictive, which means the breed will continue going back until they go rogue, and then they just go haywire. Tessera Dawn Tess Culver. She can heal with a touch of her hand, and she can rescind her gift too, and kill someone. Sterling Harvard Chase. He is called Harvard by Dante because he went to Harvard. It's a little funny because he thinks of him as a dog. He is part of the enforcement agency and has the ability to shadow Ben. Elise Chase. She was married to Sterling's brother Quentin, who died. She can telepathically hear the sins and negative energy of humans. She's worried for her son Camden. Camden can telepathically hear the sins and negative emotions of humans because that's who his mother was. So Camden disappeared and she's worried about it because he's never done that before. And so she asks Sterling Harvard to investigate it, and he goes to the order for their help. Ben, who is Tess's friend, and he wants to date her, wants to be with her, but she doesn't have no interest because they tried it and it didn't work out, and she didn't want to get back with him, but he did. So the point of views for this are Dante, Tess, Sterling Chase, Ben, and Elise. They're the ones who you see most of the time throughout the whole thing. My favorite character was Dante because of how he went from cool and aloof to loving Tess. And yes, I understand that it was a very short period of time for them to fall in love with each other, but it didn't help him any that he did swallow some of her blood. So he sort of bonded with her, and that helped him fall in love with her in a way that's sort of acceptable to me because, I mean, it was a chemistry reaction and he tried to let it go, but something about her just wouldn't let him forget about Tess. My most disliked character was Ben, who sold drugs and didn't take no for an answer because even though Tess kept on saying, I don't want to date you, I don't want to date you, he was always trying to get her to date him. And he would always bring stolen animals that needed to be healed to her, which she had to somehow heal and then smuggle back out so they could be released into the wild or to a better place that would treat the animals better. So she was really doing illegal things before she met Dante. It was told in chronological order with a good deal of suspense and foreshadowing that dealt with what happened to Camden and Dante's vision of someone dying in the flames. Dante's vision of himself dying wasn't actually about himself. It was Tess. Because of Ben. The language was appropriate for the book, characters, and story. It does have swear words in it. It does have the whole steamy part happening. And it's very much appropriate. The background was more developed on how the ancients came to Earth and the breed appeared, but still no explanation on how the breed mates showed up or how they had abilities that were passed on to their sons. Or why they can only have sons. That still isn't explained. The title of the book was about the drug that turned breed into violent rogues, and the cover of the book was about the night life that breeds could only be a part of, because, they can only do things at night, and it happened in Boston. So, and the main cover was supposed to be for the main couple. So I don't know if they used stock photos or if they just took two real people and put them together or drew two fake people. What stood out as memorable was that Tess's trauma to her powers of healing, which can also kill, because Tess accidentally killed her father. I don't know if it was her stepfather or her biological father. It's been a minute since I've read it. But yeah, he was a abuser, and she accidentally took his life, unalived him, and it destroyed her inside because it made her mom dislike her in every way, shape, or form. My favorite passage from the story is, "Your world is dark and dangerous, Dante, but it's also extraordinary, like you, like life. Don't ask me to run away from that. I want to be with you. But if I'm going to live in your world, then I want to do it here, where you belong, where your family is." Tess says this to Dante. So she's accepting Dante for who he is, for what he does, and she wants to be a part of that, to support that system, because she's got the ability to heal. So if a breed member comes back during an order mission and she can heal him, she can. And she wants to help Rio overcome his trauma through his mental trauma and his physical trauma, because he is scarred from what happened. He was exploded. In an explosion. So he is damaged in that way too. My favorite quote, as the mate of my warrior, I can't have it any other way. Tess says to Dante at the end of the novel, which means that she's like, my mate's a warrior. Of course he's going to go out and fight. So I can't have it any other way. And what she said, maybe she means by I can't have it any other way is because she wants him to do that. She wants him to do what he wants to do, because it's what he's determined to do, and she supports him. Like I said, both of those, my favorite passage and my favorite quote are, I'm going to support you because you support me. So we're going to be this whole supporting thing together. What I thought about the end of the book, Dante lived. Yay, because his vision about dying in the fire was actually Tess. And it was a plot twist. Very much a plot twist. What kind of book did this remind me of? I know I said it in the previous one, Kiss of Midnight. It reminded me of the Nightwalker series by Jacqueline Frank, because at this point in my life, those are the only two types of series I've actually read that have different characters being the main couple in new books. This book, as you know, is part of a series. There are 27 books in total, with 10 for the first part of the series, 8 for the second part, and 8 novellas in between them. So this is the end of the spoiler review, the end of the episode 2. And I know it's shorter than the rest because there's not a lot more to go through than the before. Like when you're first introducing a book and the characters and stuff, there's a whole lot of more loose stuff to go through. So if you think I deserve a like, comment, or even your lovely subscription, drop it down below. We'll see you next illusion.